Ladies and gentlemen, I am Brandon Garcia, and this is The Excellent Way. Welcome back to a series of conversations that I got the opportunity to have with some folks who aren't necessarily CrossFitters. And if they are, they're kind of new CrossFitters. And so I asked a question on my Facebook page, and this is my attempt at having a conversation with these folks that asked those questions and hopefully provide them with some answers. Now, this particular conversation was with a gentleman named Rich. He's the VP of Operations at Cerus Fitness, a gym up in Firestone. And he asked a great question. But what I want you guys to know about this particular episode, as you do when you learn stuff on the fly, we had some audio problems that I wasn't aware of until the whole conversation was done. I didn't really want to reshoot that whole conversation because we had an excellent conversation. I didn't know if we could recreate it. So we're just rolling with it. Really, the only audio problems were with me and my mic. It was cutting in and out because the camera was so far away for us to be appropriately distanced that where I had my mic pack, the signal was cutting in and out with the receiver. So my mic pack is a little funky, and so sometimes I'm really clear and sometimes it's a little hard to hear me, but I think you can still hear me, and I think you'll get a lot out of this conversation. It actually turned out to be a really excellent conversation, and I know you guys are going to enjoy it. So without further ado, this is my conversation with Rich about his question about CrossFit. Enjoy. So we are here in Cerus
Fitness, yeah.
Cerus Fitness. I'm here with Rich. He's the VP of Operations here. He's also the head trainer here. Yeah. And so he asked one of the questions. So I asked my Facebook community, what are your biggest concerns, questions, or rumors you've heard about CrossFit? And Rich asked a really good one, and I'm glad it's him that asked it, because as a gym owner, so Cerus Fitness is it's a gym that has some CrossFit feel to it.
Right, yeah.
Your guys' focus is more...
We kind of do a whole bunch of different stuff, and CrossFit is part of that. Those high-intensity interval trainings are very CrossFit-like, and so, yeah, we've had people come in and ask, like, are you doing CrossFit? We're like, technically we're not CrossFit, but these high-intensity interval training are a lot like you'd see in a CrossFit gym, so a lot of people get intimidated by that. So that's why I'm glad you asked that question online, like, what are the myths and these things that people often, kind of dissuade them from going to CrossFit, and that's why I had to chime in on your...
Absolutely. There. So that being said, what was the issue that you brought up? What was the question you had?
One of the biggest things I hear, and I think far and away from me personally being a CrossFit fan and doing CrossFit myself, I hear a lot of people say, like, I'm intimidated by that bro mentality, those caveman alpha male type people that are in there grunting and throwing weights, and I personally don't have any problem with it. I throw weights too. I grunt when I work out really hard too. But I hear some people say, you know what? It's kind of intimidating to me. It kind of turns me off. And so, how would you try to tell those people, persuade them to try CrossFit?
For sure. So for me, as a gym owner, and I started in CrossFit in the early days where that was the mentality, that was the people. Those were the people that were easy to get into CrossFit, right? The alpha bros, the tip of the spear, like they got involved early in law enforcement and military, Navy SEALs, things like that. But at the time, I was a quote-unquote normal trainer, right? I was in a Globo gym,
right,
doing my thing. And the thing that caught my attention was the guy who founded CrossFit was like, the needs of our Navy SEALs and our grandmothers vary in degree, but not in kind.
Right.
And I was like, wow, that's a really good point.
That's a great way to put it, yeah.
And so he was like, you should be able to have a Navy SEAL and your grandma in the same class, doing the same workout, but to their ability level.
Yeah.
And then, so in that statement, it speaks to how you manage your community. This is a lesson that we learned the hard way at our gym, which is how do you manage that?
Yeah.
Right? And so, as those personalities, those big kind of alpha bro personalities,
right,
in, as an owner, as a coach, it's our job to get them to understand, like, hey, you can absolutely come into this and crush this workout. This is how I want you to attack it and all this other thing. You're probably going to be the first to finish a lot. Once you finish, your new job is to make sure the newest person in class feels included and cheered for, and remind them when they finish, like,
hey, I remember when I first started how hard that was too. Good job.
Yeah.
And it starts with the ownership of that gym, and then it trickles into the coaches of that gym, being sure that that's the culture that you want in your gym, if that's what you want in your gym.
Yeah.
Now that's the other answer to that question, right? Is when you're looking for a gym, what are you looking for? Right? And most people don't know. You know that. You've had people come in and like, I don't know.
Right.
Kind of, sort of. And I think that as people new to fitness search for a gym, the reason why micro gyms have become so great is because we can all create our own culture. And I've dropped in on gyms where the culture is everybody there is an alpha bro or an alpha chick. As soon as the warm up starts, shirts come off.
Yep.
Gotta
flex, gotta show off.
Yep.
Who's the biggest, baddest?
And like, I'm not necessarily against that. Like, if that's where you're at, that's where you're at.
It's got its place.
But if you're brand new to fitness, you're not coming back to that gym.
No, that does scare a lot of people away.
Yeah, it'll intimidate a lot of people. And so as you go out and try different fitness facilities, and I'm always going to encourage people, listen, if you're super tight on budget, places like Planet Fitness and Choose Fitness are great.
They are, yeah.
However, you're not going to get any direction. And the direction you're going to get in those places isn't always going to be great. And I don't mean that to knock on the trainers and coaches.
Oh no, not at all.
But there's not a lot of development of trainers and coaches that happen in those gyms. They're more focused on the sale of it, and it's up to the coach or the trainer to get better if they want to.
The numbers, they're all about the numbers for the most part.
In a micro gym, if somebody's gone for a week, like your guys' gym, if somebody's gone for a week, you're getting a phone call.
We know
from me,
right?
You're getting a phone call from the owner, from the head coach, from your class trainer.
That's exactly right.
To like, okay, hey, where are you at, man? How are things going? Yeah. And so, if you're new to fitness, if you're looking for a gym, a place where you're going to fit, check out a couple different places.
Yeah.
And as owners, some owners are going to get it. The owners that have been in this game long enough, or that got into this game young, we're not going to fit for everybody. It
doesn't work for everyone, yeah.
They're going to be okay with that. They're not going to take it personally. At least I don't. I don't know.
No, I'm the same way. I mean, we talked about this before. It's all about just getting people into fitness. And sometimes my version of fitness and your version of fitness isn't what they wanted.
Right.
And so they need to find where they fit in. And I think, like we were talking before, this is where the community atmosphere that we both put on in our gyms is really what kind of drives a lot of people to our gyms. There's a community aspect. There's a tribe aspect. You feel like you're part of a family here. Or in a lot of CrossFit gyms across the nation, they're like that. You have a family there. They encourage you. They call you. They talk to you and all that stuff. And again, back to my original question, some of those bro alpha males are a little intimidating with that, and they're not always so inclusive. But like you said, if you've got good ownership, good coaching, they're telling those guys, you need to make these guys feel welcome. And then they do fit in. And then maybe they are part of the family, are part of the squad. And they're like, oh, this is like my big brother here now, instead of just some scary, big, beefy guy who lifts way more weight than me. So
he becomes the inspiration instead of the intimidation.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it. Yeah.
Right. And it's like, we're having this conversation. As I'm having this conversation, I'm hearing this. Like, I don't want this to come off like that kind of attitude, the alpha bro, the alpha chick.
Yeah. No, and I totally agree with you. And I don't want to ever make people think that either. No. Absolutely not. No.
Where we're living.
No.
There's just a place for that kind of athlete in that kind of environment.
Yeah.
And it's the minority.
Yeah.
Especially now. In the early days of CrossFit and the early days of obstacle course victory, which is a big focus for you guys.
Definitely.
It was like those were the people who came and did it.
Yeah.
And that's who was here.
And I was certainly myself personally drawn to that too, because I'm like, oh, I'm inspired by these big, fast, strong people, men and women who are like so amazingly fit. And I'm like, I want to be that someday. I want to be as big and strong as fast as these people. And so it motivated me to work hard. But then the more I got into coaching myself, the more I became a gym owner myself, I did get more questions about, oh, I don't know if I want to work out with that guy. He's kind of scary. And I'm like, well, what's scary about him? Why does this person intimidate you? And I'm just hearing it more and more as time goes on, and I'm like, all right, I understand. If one person's motivation might be another person's intimidation, and so it's like we got to somehow bridge that gap, and that's why I posed the question to you. It's like, how do we get those people who, these alpha bros are not trying to intimidate people, obviously. They're just doing their job. They're lifting weights, they're getting in shape, they're motivating themselves and the people around them. That's awesome. I'm all for it. So that's why I posed that question in the first place.
Well, and I think, too, and you bring up a good point there, is that when new people come in, they're new, they don't realize that, hey, this guy or this girl, they've been here a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years working on this, 10 years. They were a semi-pro or pro athlete before.
Yeah.
And now they kind of, quote unquote, retired from that sport, but they're still ultra fit.
They're still very fit, yeah.
But so they've got years under their belt of being at that level, or they started years ago and they've slowly but surely built themselves up to where they are now.
Yeah.
The new person's intimidated by that, and it's that reminder. And maybe this is the place to have that, or to say this out loud. Like, if you're looking for a gym, when you first go to a gym, remember, you're on day one, and they're on day 1,001.
Right.
That's a world of difference of learning how to control your body,
right?
How to control your nutrition, learning how to control. Okay, I can do this much weight here, and I can do this many reps here. Like, knowing and understanding your body, they've got years on it.
Yeah.
But they were at one point
where you're starting now. Yeah.
And they came in and they were the nervous newbie, and they weren't sure what to think. So when you step into a place like that where it looks maybe a little intimidating, give yourself an opportunity to be a part of that community for just a little bit, and see if you really fit there.
Right.
You might think you do, or you might think you don't, and then it ends up flipping.
Yeah.
Right. So maybe you stick, or maybe you find a different place. That's okay. But it's always that. And you probably say this as much as I do. You can't compare your day one to their day.
No. Right. Exactly.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
Because it's not fair to you.
No. Me as a trainer personally, and I'm sure you've probably dealt with this too, and it's like, you got to meet a person where they're at. It's not like you're going to say, all right, day one newbie, you get in there and you snatch that weight right there. And then they're like worried or scared. Like, I've never done that before. You're like, we're going to meet you where you're at. You're not doing what this day 1001 guy's doing. You're going to do day one person stuff. And if you excel at it, then we'll move you along quicker. But let's meet you where you're at, And that's what I think a lot of good CrossFit boxes do. And this good coaching does that. They're not going to just say, oh, you're not like beast mode guy over here, so let's I'm not going to pay much attention. No, the good coaches will say, no, let's bring you up and let's build you up.
So I think the answer to your questions in this conversation is how do I, as a CrossFit gym owner, deal with that? For us in our gym, like, it's that conversation of stepping people in, making sure they feel comfortable, and those constant reminders of, dude, you're still at the beginning. It's okay. Give yourself time to grow. If you're that person looking, right? If you step into a gym, join a gym, and the coaching isn't in that place, like you're saying, where they're not doing a great job of meeting you where you are and just expecting you to be
something you're not.
Something you're not, then maybe it's time to hunt for a different gym. But I would say that too, and we've run into this a little bit. We've had people leave other gyms who have been part of those gyms for years, and you get a coach who's just not there as a coach. Maybe they love fitness, but they're not a great coach. And we all know those folks.
That's the thing. And
we know the other flip side too. They may not look the part, but they're great coaches.
Amazing coaches, right?
And so we've had this, a little bit of a trickle effect of people who left other gyms because that wasn't happening. Those coaches meeting those people where they were. Like, as coaches, we don't know what's going on in your life, but if we have an opportunity to give you an hour in your day where it's okay, and like, you can fight through that, and you're not going to be judged at all, but maybe you're going to get pushed. But like, no matter where you're at, if you get coaching that isn't doing that for you, maybe it's time to find a new gym.
I 100% agree with that, and that's what I love about this attitude about this, though, is when you bring up all the stuff about it, you need to make sure you kind of, it's the getting where you fit in kind of thing. And then when you say try a couple different gyms, different boxes, some people love those chain gyms. Some people love bar class. Some people love CrossFit. You got to go with what you like. And even with an individual CrossFit box, you might try a couple.
Yeah.
You find the tribe that's yours, you know, the ones that you just thought, this feels right, or these coaches care, or I felt like you had the connection. And I think that's really, really important.
Well, and two, it's something that we in the CrossFit community as owners know, and CrossFit box owners are hyper competitive people, so they're gonna, it's a hard conversation to have. But we know that each of our gyms, even though we may have similar culture, we have different culture.
Mm-hmm.
And
I agree with that.
So I've had people come and try out my gym and be like, okay, how much it take you to join your gym? And I've had to have the conversation of, I don't know if you're going to fit here, but try this one and this one and this one.
Mm-hmm.
They might be a better fit for you.
Right.
For what you're looking for.
It's that honesty, I think, is what is great, though. That is super cool.
Yeah, and it's not because I don't want that person here.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think they're going to thrive here. And so
it's like what you've said before. You want ultimately people to get fit and become regular gym goers. And if you know they're not going to do that in your gym, you need to find the best fit for them.
I constantly tell people, I'm like, look, I am a fan of anybody who's not on the couch as we sit on the couches.
I know. I like my couches.
And I think your guys' gym falls in the same place of like, look, get off the couch.
Yeah.
Go and do something. Go run. Go bike. Go take a bar class. Go take a Pilates class.
It's a small fraction of your day. Just get active.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but yeah, if you're hunting for a box and you're afraid to try CrossFit because the Alpha Bro gym thing is an intimidation factor for you.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of things. Number one, that was prevalent in the early days. I don't think it is anymore.
Not so much now, huh?
I think the fitness industry as a whole has evolved enough that especially these micro gyms like ours,
mm-hmm.
We just care about our people in a different way, and so that can't happen.
Yeah.
It just can't.
Right.
But even though that's the case, there are still gyms that are like that. Give yourself time to try the gym.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Right. Yeah, go.
You don't go to the same restaurant every single day.
No, right. That is absolutely correct. That's a really good comparison.
So give yourself a chance to find where you're going to fit and have success.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it might not be a CrossFit gym. It might be an OCR gym. It might be a HIIT gym. It might be a Pilates class.
Right.
That's okay.
Whatever. Anything that gets you active and moving. So.
And if you're dead set on doing CrossFit.
Yeah.
Try a whole bunch of CrossFit gyms.
Yeah, right. And another thing I think you even hit on too, and know that those alpha bros aren't doing that to intimidate you. No. They are just doing their workout. Yeah. And when you go get to know them and you go fist bump them at the end of the workout, you're going to find 99% of them are actually really cool and really encouraging.
Yeah.
And so they're not trying to. They're just big, strong, intimidating guys sometimes. But when you go fist bump at the end of the workout, I think you're going to find they're really encouraging.
And to piggyback off that too, on the day you do beat them at a workout because they just have a bad day, and you get to be the one cheering for them.
Yeah.
That is the coolest.
That is so fun. Yeah, exactly. I know. I've been there. Yeah.
Oh God, I beat them.
Yeah.
I beat them.
I finished first. Yes. And then you're down there cheering them on to finish their burpees or whatever they're doing. Yeah.
And those are the days that you get to remind yourself of, like, all right, they have hard days too.
Yeah. And they're human, right?
They're human.
Right.
That's a great point.
So, yeah.
Dude, thank you so much for asking.
My pleasure, man. Yeah.
Great thing.
Hey, anything to get more people fit and active and moving, it's our goal, right?
During this COVID thing, and we had this conversation a little bit before, it is now more important than ever to take care of your fitness,
mm-hmm.
to take care of your nutrition, to take care of your health.
Yep.
The people that are struggling the worst with this virus are the people that are the four biggest comorbidities.
Oh, comorbidities, yeah.
Obesity, type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure,
mm-hmm.
and vitamin D deficiency. All four of those things can be controlled with fitness and nutrition.
Well, listen to this guy. He knows what he's talking about. Seriously.
It's a big deal, guys.
That is a big deal. So, yes, take care of yourself.
Man. Well, fist bumps.
Long arms.
Yep. Thanks, guys, and we'll see you at the next